Alright, hello. My name is Mike DeRosa, and let me ask you a question. How many like old school kung fu movies? Well, when you think of those movies, the most iconic person you could think of is Bruce Lee. But have you ever stopped and wondered just where did Bruce Lee learn all those moves, who taught them to him? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you about today. I'm going to tell you about the man who taught Bruce Lee his martial arts style. His full name is Yip Kai Man, but he goes by the name of Yip Man. And according to Dan Knight, who wrote Yip Man's biography, he is the first instructor to openly teach Wing Chun Kung Fu, which is Bruce Lee's martial arts style. Now, despite being a good teacher, Yip Man never intended on becoming an instructor in the first place, but he still had several devoted students who also became instructors later in their lives. And in 1967, he opened the Hong Kong Soon Athletic Association with his students. What I'm going to tell you is about his life from birth to death, a little bit about his martial arts style, his teachings, and what some of his students thought about him. Born in October 1st, 1893, he was the third of 4 children born to the Yip family. His family were a wealthy bunch of merchants who lived in the Guangdong district in Foshan, China. Coming from a rich family, his education was extremely high. And his family allowed a man called Chan Guan Shun to live and teach in his family's temple. The reason they let him live there is because Chan had a reputation as a fighter, and he figured that would discourage robbers from attacking the family. Yip Man would often watch Chan's lessons. In fact, he watched them so often that at the age of 9, Yip Man asked Chan to take him on as a disciple, and that's where his training began. By the age of 15, he moved to Hong Kong, and at 16, Yip Man attended Stephens College, where he met a group of young students who liked to accept and offer Kung Fu challenges. According to USADojo.com, where an article of Yip Man was wrote, it says that he welcomed the chance to put his Wing Chun training to the test. One day, a classmate of his told him that there is an old man who works in his father's silk company who was also extremely skilled in martial arts. Being interested, Yip Man decided to challenge the old man. Upon meeting, the old man asked Yip Man to demonstrate his style and asked him what style he used. After seeing Yip Man's skills, the old man decided to accept the challenge, and Yip Man was quickly defeated. Upon his defeat, he learned that the man he fought was actually his old master's son, and after his defeat, his son offered to train Yip Man even further. Yip Man accepted and studied with his old master's son for about 2.5 years. At age 24, he moved back to Foshan, China, where he quickly became captain of the police force. Now, at the time, he did not officially instruct martial arts in his school, but he still taught a couple of friends, relatives, and a couple of his subordinates on the police force. In 1949, when the Chinese Communist Party won the Chinese Civil War, Yip Man fled to Hong Kong, abandoning his family in the process because he opposed a certain communist political party who came to Foshan. And there in Hong Kong is where he opened his first Wing Chun school. According to Dan Knight, business was at first incredibly slow because his students would only last a few months at a time. But and he had to move his school twice because he was unable to pay for property. But his reputation as a teacher did grow exponentially because his students liked to compare their skills to other martial artists, and his students would oftentimes win those challenges. In 1972, Yip Man was diagnosed with throat cancer and died on December 2nd within the same year. 6 weeks before his death, he asked his 2 sons and 1 student to film him performing the techniques of Wing Chun as he learned them. The reason he asked them to do this was because a lot of his students were adapting to new forms of martial arts, and he wanted to preserve the traditional teachings the way he was taught. But being weak and unsteady, he was only able to complete 2 of the forms and 1 technique on the practice dummy. Moving on to Yip Man's style and his students' opinions of him. According to ilovekungfu.com, Wing Chun is a unique and scientific martial arts style, specializing in close quarters combat using quick punches and kicks while initiating a tight defense and using coordinated angle stances and short footwork. The key is to deliver the correct amount of energy while staying as relaxed as possible. According to blackbeltmag.com, it gives viewers an inside look at what some of his students thought about Ip Man's teaching style. One of his students, William Chung, said that during the 7 years of studying with Ip Man, he never but once saw him instruct a full class. Ip Man was normally in the back of the class, and he left his teachings to his more senior students. He would usually assist the instructors, or he would correct his favorite students. Chung also said that only during certain times when a big client would pay heavily for a private lesson is when he would fully teach a lesson. Ip Man feared that his skill would diminish if he participated with the junior. He would have to slow down in order to create openings for his student. Still, his students had a lot of respect for Ip Man, and he found him to be a rather interesting person. He had a good sense of humor, apparently. He liked to give his students nicknames, and would take a long time to dream them up. For example, Bruce Lee's nickname was Upstart because he liked to play pranks in the school. And his other student, William Chung, was called Big Husky Boy. So in conclusion, from child of a merchant family to teenager in college, to a young man in the police force, and a man who fled home with nowhere to go and nobody to rely on, and finally to a master who commanded respect to all those around him. His life was not easy, but it was definitely a life well lived. He believed in tradition and respecting others, and tried to pursue those principles. Business at first was unstable, but he eventually trained many students, including the most iconic figure in martial arts history. And to end this speech, I would like to end with a quote from Bruce Lee about his teacher. He was a well-educated man who never wanted to teach Kung Fu. He loved soccer and attending the Chinese opera. His strongest hatred was ignorance, which is why he did not like many martial artists. He was a man of perfection who believed there was no halfway of doing anything. Thank you.